Hello and welcome back to episode 12 of the CarveCast. Now, for those of you watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see I am ready for work, so I'm on a little bit of a limited time schedule. So this episode is going to be a little bit different. We're going to miss out some of the normal segments that we would normally do today. We'll put them into the next episode. But in this episode, I'm going to talk a little bit about 3 different types of ski areas you can go to over the coming months, because unfortunately we are coming to the end of the season, which is very, very, very disappointing. I'm going to update you on where I'm going over the next couple of months, but for the most part, a lot of resorts are already beginning to shut. So I'm going to talk about 3 different places you can go. Now, I did do an episode a few weeks ago on where to go during the summer to go skiing, but this one's going to be ever so slightly different. And actually, these places you can go to all year round. So we're going to talk a little bit about those as well. So let's get into it. Now, it's been about a week and a half or 2 weeks since I got back from my bumper ski trip through the Alps to multiple different places, including Val d'Isère, Teens, Courchevel, Meribel, Pilar, loads of different places. If you want to hear about that, go back to episode 11 and I went through it in great detail, so you can all listen to that and get absolutely bored to death of my ski adventures. But it was a sensational trip. So jokes aside, if you're interested in that, go check that one out, and it really was quite interesting. Now, one of the other things I wanted to talk about in this episode is, in a very small way, lessons, coaching, guiding, however you want to put it. I would really like to just cover off some of that in this episode. Now, in future episodes, I've got agreement from so many guests to come on. I'm just kind of really waiting for the ski season to end, so they're going to have a little bit more time. But I've got some Basie level 4 instructors coming on. I've got a YouTube couple who go around the ski resorts in their camper van during the winter coming on. Andy from Snow Camps Europe, thanks Andy for the shout out in your video. Andy's going to come on hopefully at some point, and we can chat to Andy because he's got loads and loads of exciting stuff coming up for the next season, including what he calls a ski safari around the Dolomites towards the end of January. So if you guys have never been to the Dolomites or Italy and you're looking to do something like that, that would obviously be a great way to do it, where you're going to get guided and helped the whole way throughout that week, plus obviously meet lots of like-minded people. So that's another thing as well. But in terms of getting lessons, learning to be better, I've learned a lot about that over the last year and a half, and I'd like to share a little bit of that with you, but I won't go into too much detail because I want to talk about quality of trainers, quality of lessons, and all those kind of more in detail things when I have some level 4 instructors on who really do know their stuff and they can contribute a lot better than I can. But in addition to this, I'm also off in a week today. A week today, I'm going to do my level 2 exams, IAZ exams in Hintertux, where I've never been before. So I'm very, very excited about that. And I'm also very excited that I have extended that trip. Now, originally, I would have gone to Zermatt in April because the best skiing I've ever done was in Zermatt in April last year with Jason, friend of mine. Jason Left Right on YouTube and Instagram. You can go and get some great tips and tricks from him in terms of technique and skiing ability and everything else, and just generally one of the greatest guys out there in the skiing world. But when I was there last year, it was incredible, and I wanted to do it again this year, but the opportunity for my level 2 came up and I had to take it just to get that done. So I really didn't think I was then going to be able to go to Zermatt in the same month. However, spoke to the wife, and I have been given permission. So basically, I'm in Hintertux for a week, Saturday to Saturday, starting next week. And when I fly back, instead of going home like a normal human being, like the addict I am in terms of skiing, I am going to basically cross the airport, go straight onto the next flight, which is going to head out to Geneva, and make my way to Zermatt for a few days, where I'm going to do some skiing in Zermatt in late April. The less high areas in Zermatt, so Sunniger and Gornegrat, actually close on the Sunday, which will be my first day skiing there. So that is exactly the same day that I arrived last year, which is kind of funny because I didn't plan it that way. But the rest of the time we'll be skiing on the glacier and higher up and on the Fergsattel runs, for example, and also heading over to Chavinia, because apparently the skiing in Chavinia is absolutely spot on at the moment, and a lot of that is still open and will be even towards the end of April. So that is my next trip coming up. I'm very, very excited for that one, and hopefully I'll report back on that when I get back, or even during potentially. But the things I really wanted to go through with you guys today were these 3 different places that I've got experience in as to where you can go skiing over the next few months. And if you're like me and you're really most keen out of everything to become a better skier with better technique, and therefore obviously able to enjoy it more, then these are fantastic places to be able to go during the next few months. Keep up your fitness, keep up your practice, and improve as well. Now there's really kind of a couple of different places you can go in these warmer months. Now you can obviously go off to the southern hemisphere, and at some point I definitely do want to go to Argentina or Chile, because you can ski there during the summer months. Obviously you've got New Zealand, Australia, but for the most part, for most people, they're probably going to be a little bit out of the question. Now, some of my greatest improvements in my skiing, and in fact my family and friends, have been on the indoor slopes. Now you've got some choices here with the indoor slopes. First of all, you've got places like Hemel Hempstead, where I'm actually going tomorrow with a whole big group of my friends, and I haven't been there for a while, so I'm excited to go and do a couple of hours early on a Sunday morning, then head over to the Carve after and get yourself a nice big breakfast in the, I think it's called the Windmill Cafe, which is just around the corner from Hemel Hempstead ski area. And Hemel Hempstead's a great place. It's open really early in the morning, either from maybe 7 or 8 o'clock. Even throughout the summer, actually, on a Tuesday, they tend to still open extremely early. And it's a great place to go and build up your skills. Now, the quality of instructors there is okay. You're not going to get like absurdly high level instructors in terms of the ones that work at the Hemel Hempstead Snow Centre itself. However, there are external instructors which are of the highest level. So for example, Ali Smith from Ski Definition, which is actually who I'm doing my level 2 with next week, incredible high level instructor, which you can actually train with him at Hemel Hempstead. There's also a guy there called Santi, who's a ski racer, and he's potentially the best skier I've ever seen in person, whether it be on real slopes or even indoors. He's skiing, carving, short-term carving, long-term carving, everything about his skiing is absolutely incredible. And you can train directly with someone like that, as I have, who can teach you endless amounts of things. And actually Santi is a phenomenal instructor, as is Ali actually, but they're very, very different in terms of their training technique, their backgrounds, their qualifications, and what they're going to really try and get you to achieve. Like I said, Ali, very technical skier, very knowledgeable, lots of experience. Santi, ski racer, but the absolute most pristine carving you will ever see. So if you do want to get lessons with people, they are 2 fantastic people that you can go and learn with at Hemel Hempstead. Now, the Hemel Hempstead resort, if you like, I'm putting that in inverted commas because it's just one, small-ish slope, a restaurant and a shop. It's great. But what you do have to bear in mind is they only have the tiny little pommel lifts, so the ones you slide between your legs and sit on, forgive the phrase. And then the slope itself, I think, is maybe 150 meters, something like that. It's not a huge slope. It's fairly steep though for an indoor slope, Hemel Hempstead. So you can really sort of practice on that sort of slightly steeper environment. It also gets extremely chopped up as well during the day. So if you go there towards the end of the day, you're going to get some really, really good experience of bumpy, lumpy, chopped up snow, which can really help you when you go on a proper ski trip, because you're going to get those kind of environments. And if you haven't ever practiced on that, as I haven't or hadn't at some stages, and then you go to it like I did actually when I went to the Kitzsteinhorn, you really struggle. So going there towards the end of the day, albeit less appealing than when you're getting those beautiful tracked runs in the morning, those groomed runs in the morning, it actually is very, very good experience for a ski trip. So I do advise that if you do go to somewhere like Hemel Hempstead, don't just do what I do and go first thing in the morning when it's first tracks and they're beautifully groomed, but go there throughout all different times of the day. In addition to that, Hemel does get quite busy. So even though that is a pain for the most part, there are going to be times when you're skiing, especially if you're going in school holidays, for example, in February, where you're going to have a similar situation even on the real slope. So being able to navigate around people, practicing on your safety, making sure you're doing all the right things there can really help as well towards contributing towards a better ski trip, and a ski trip that you're going to have more fun with because you're better prepared. So Hemel Hempstead, it's got a great shop downstairs, snow and rock, loads and loads and loads of good stuff in there. Not somewhere I would advise that you buy boots and skis necessarily, unless you already know what you're talking about and you're going to take them to someone experienced to get those boots fitted. But for your clothes, goggles, helmets, all of that different kind of stuff, it's a great shop and it's got loads of stuff in there. And because it's in the ski slope itself, it has that stuff in there all year round. Whereas if you go to any other ski shop, for the most part, Ellis Brigham and Snow and Rock, as soon as it gets to this time of year, out with the ski stuff, in with the boring walking stuff, and you can't look at anything. So that's a good place to go for that as well. Now, in addition to that, they have a restaurant upstairs, and it's actually fairly good. It's your usual kind of stuff. They sort of try and replicate that sort of mountain environment by offering schnitzels and various other bits like that. And it's okay. It's not amazing, and it's definitely not bad. So you can go up there, grab some food, a little bit of skiing around it, or my preference would be head over to the Windmill Cafe, because trust me, it's one of the best cafes you'll ever go to. But all in all, yeah, Hemel Hempstead, if you're absolutely starting out as a beginner, then the slopes are fantastic there. The slope is fantastic. They do have a slightly smaller one actually for beginners. And actually the instructors there, if you're right at the very beginning stages, will be perfectly adequate for you as well. They'll get you going, getting you through your snowplow, into your parallel, teaching you all the basics. They'll be able to do that absolutely fine. It's only once you're pushing on into that kind of intermediate level that I would advise more of a Santee or more of an alley that I spoke about earlier. So yeah, all in all, Hemel Hempstead, great place to go. Pain that it's around the M25, but I leave very early on a Sunday morning, get up there, have a couple of hours, head over to the cafe, and on the way back the traffic's not too bad because you've not even got to midday yet. So all in all, yeah, very good place to go. Highly recommend it. Book your tickets online before you go. If you don't have any ski equipment at all, you can hire it all there. It's all included in the price of the lift pass. If you have your own stuff, unfortunately the lift pass is the same price, which I think is a little bit disappointing, but there you go. Through these warmer months, you can actually even buy a monthly pass, and you can go as many times as you want. So if you did really want to take advantage of that, that would definitely be the way to do it. And it's actually fairly inexpensive in terms of the comparison to a normal 1 or 2 hour ticket. You can ski as much as you want. So if you live close-ish by, that would be the best option. I think those tickets actually start from April, so they're available. Now, another option, actually not indoors, but still somewhere that's available in the UK, is your dry ski slopes. And actually that's where we started about a year and a half ago in October, November of 2023. And we started taking weekly lessons there before we headed off to our first ski trip to Grindelwald. And if you want to hear about our kind of early days of skiing, you can go right back to episode 1, and we talk through the whole journey of why we started, how we got into everything. And if you are a beginner or even just someone who's interested, that's a great listen, so go back to that one. But the dry slope, now when I first started going, because I'd never experienced snow, I didn't have anything to compare it to, so it was fine. I enjoyed it. In fact, I loved our evening visits down there as a group and as a family, and practicing and trying to get better and trying to get prepped for that very first ski trip that we ever went on. But once you've been on snow, going back to a dry slope is an uncomfortable feeling. The best thing about it is that it has over the indoor snow domes is quite literally that it's outdoors, which I think is much, much nicer. You can go there all through the summer. You can go out there in the evenings. You know, you can go through good weather, bad weather, and it's so much better being outdoors. But the brushes or the mats that they use that you slide down are so vastly different and more difficult, believe it or not, than the snow, that it is, for me, not the nicest experience once you've been on snow. However, because the dry slopes are significantly more difficult, in my opinion anyway, and most people's opinions, than a proper indoor snow dome, or any kind of snow for that matter, even though snow is more slippery, you'd think it would be the other way around. The better you get on the dry slope, you're going to be even better on snow. So if you really did want to build up your skills and you're willing to suffer the uncomfortable feeling that is the dry slope, it can have profoundly positive influences on how good of a skier you can become. Because trust me, if you can ski well on dry slopes, then you can ski extremely well on the snow. So probably the reason for that is because it's significantly less forgiving. In order to be good on a dry slope, your technique has got to be absolutely spot on. So what that means is that rather than being able to kind of bodge your way down, you really do have to concentrate on good technique in order to be able to get down in a good and effective and proficient and elegant looking way. So if you do that and you practice on that dry slope and you get good on that dry slope, believe you me, when you come to the snow, it's going to be an absolute doddle and you're going to have a fantastic experience. Now, the one that we go to or went to during those times and have been back to on small occasions since to help other friends and family that are on their kind of ski journey is the one in Chatham. And it's a great slope. I think it's probably one of the better ones in the country, actually. It's actually long. It's a few hundred meters. It's fairly steep in parts, fairly narrow at the top, but very, very wide at the bottom. It's actually got two lifts as well, so one on each side, a fast one and a slower one. And all in all, a great place. Got a lovely little restaurant upstairs, good facilities, loads of parking, and they've also got the longest toboggan run in the UK there. So you can treat it as like a little trip out when you go there, and it's just a fun day, a fun place to go. Nice food upstairs, nice staff, and if you're happy to ski on the dry slopes, probably one of the better slopes in the UK, and for sure a lot bigger, a lot longer than the Hemel Hempstead indoor slope. That is for sure. So yeah, Chatham dry slope. If you want to practice or you want to get started or whatever it is you want to do, and they've got great instructors there too, and a good little shop inside as well, run by John, the ski shack, then that's a great place to go. You can mix it up with a bit of tobogganing, you can mix it up with a bit of lunch or breakfast. It's in a lovely location in Kent. So yeah, all in all, good place to go. But if you have been on snow, you're going to find it difficult, you're going to find it challenging, you're going to find it uncomfortable. But if you put in the time and effort and get better on the dry slope, you're going to notice that multiple fold when you get back onto the real snow. So another great place to go. Now, my favourite place, albeit as typically it would be more complex and more expensive to get to, is Landgraaf in Holland, the Netherlands. Now, like I said, in that summer bumper episode that I did about summer skiing, I did a lot on this. So if you want to go back to that and really listen in and get a bit more detail, go back to that. But let's just break it down. It's in a place called Landgraaf in Holland, which is about 3 hours drive from Calais. You can fly fairly close to there and then get a train into there. And it's this sensational, I think the biggest one in Europe, I'm pretty sure the biggest one in Europe, ski resort. It's all encompassing. It's got an outdoor kind of go ape area. You can actually fairly close by go go-kart racing on ice, which is incredible. You've also got 4 slopes, the longest one being around 500 meters, maybe 550 meters, something like that. And they have 2 of that size and then 2 smaller ones. They also have a full-size chairlift, so you can practice on that as well before you head over to the real slopes. And all in all, it is a great place. They've got multiple restaurants. They've actually got a hotel built into it, and the hotel is a really, really cool, quirky hotel as well. Massive car parks. One of the best ski shops you'll ever go to downstairs. And yeah, it's great. It's much cheaper than it is to go in the UK. It's just an incredible place to go to. I love it. Now, one of the good things about Landgraaf is it's not as steep as Hemel Hempstead, believe it or not. So even though it's longer, it's not as steep. Now, what that means is that, yeah, all right, you miss out on the kind of steepness of the UK indoor slopes, most of them, but it really gives you that opportunity to hone in your skills because you're not going as fast, you're not building up as much speed as you would do normally. So if, like me, you've been on this journey of trying to really sort of practice your carving, it's a fantastic place to go because you don't have to worry too much about being able to scrub off speed and having to slow down because it's just not that much of a sharp pitch. Now, trust me, you wouldn't want to go down it in a straight line. You would build up significant amounts of speed. It's not that flat, but it is a good pitch for being able to do some fantastic practice. Now, if you were looking to practice, for example, side slips, then somewhere like Hemel Hempstead is going to be better for something like that because it's a bit steeper. In Landgraaf, it's maybe not quite steep enough in most situations to practice properly those side slips, but you can still do it in certain areas at the top where it's that little bit steeper off to the sides and whatnot, especially on slope 1. Now, do bear in mind with Landgraaf, and I recommend you check on their website, it does have a maintenance section. At certain points through the summer, they close one slope at a time to renew the snow, and that means that the other slope is the only one open, and albeit it's dead in the summer, trust me, it's absolutely dead, quite often they corner off a part of that single slope for the racers who go there and practice, and it can reduce your experience. So I believe it's from the end of May all the way through to about halfway through July that one of the two main slopes is shut for renewing the snow, and you can see that on their website. I recommend you go outside of those times. However, if you're a beginner and you're just looking to go there for a couple of days and really practice and get some lessons, they do lessons by the hour there, then that's a great place to go regardless of whether they've got a slope cut off or not. If you're a bit more intermediate advanced and you want that little bit more space, then yeah, I would wait until after they've finished renovating one of the two bigger slopes. Slope 3 and slope 4 there for beginners, you don't have to worry whether they're renovating them, it's only slope 1 and slope 2. There's actually a hotel round the corner from there called the Winslerhof, which is actually an inexpensive hotel, but it's a very nice hotel. It's beautiful, outside courtyard, honestly, Michelin star quality food, beautiful rooms, absolutely stunning. We always stay there rather than in the resort inside the ski centre itself, and it's quite literally a 3-minute drive around the corner. But the hotel in the resort is also very nice, but that Winslerhof is on a whole nother level. So that's a little bit of a tip if you're going to head over to Landgraaf. You know, if you get 3-4 of you in a car or a van and you head over there and you share the petrol, share the Eurotunnel, share all of those sorts of costs, you guys can get like a fantastic low price trip over there, because for a whole day skiing in there, and you can ski from 8 in the morning till 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, it's only about 40 or 50 euros. Like I said, they've got great restaurants there. They've even got a mini nightclub. They've even got a little lodge shack on the slopes themselves where you can buy food and drinks. Although I don't know if it's open in the summer, to be honest, you'd have to check that stuff out. But yeah, great place, Landgraaf. And actually, we are going back there early August, as soon as those slopes open back up and all the snow's been renewed. So yeah, we're heading over there early August. And yeah, that's my favourite place to go during these boring summer months. Now, quick little chat about lessons, training, guiding, whatever it is that you want to call it. When you're first starting out, like I said, the instructors at these places are definitely good enough to get yourself started. And in some cases, they're going to have really incredible instructors there that would also be able to push you on. However, if you're booking through a booking system, you're not usually going to be able to get to select or pick your instructor at these places. For example, Landgraaf, you do it by the hour, you do it online, you don't know who you're going to get. Hemel Hempstead, same thing. And also down at Chatham Dry Slope, you're going to get the same thing as well. So albeit you're going to occasionally get like a very well qualified, very good ski instructor at these places, they're going to be very difficult to pick them by hand and get them consistently. So I recommend that at all these places, if you want to get training, that you look to find an external person. Now, like I said, in Hemel, you've got Ali, you've got Santi, and at all these places, if you Google it and you look into it, you'll be able to find external people that will be able to potentially help you. Or if you go to Chatham, John is a great instructor, John's daughters are great instructors, Saskia's a great instructor. There's people there that are actually higher, really good instructors, not just instructors, and I hope that makes sense if you're listening. Now, in terms of instructors on the slopes themselves, and like I said earlier, we're going to have some really high level 4 Basie instructors on here, and actually from other backgrounds as well, high level instructors I'm going to have on as guests, hopefully through the summer. The thing you have to understand when you're getting lessons on the real snow is a similar thing. If you're just going to go to a big ski school, you're going to get any old instructor. They might not be the highest quality instructor. They might well be the highest quality instructor. This is the problem. You just don't know. So my advice would always be to you, the same as if you're doing it here or in Landgraaf, that if you are going to another country and you're looking to get lessons, then really try to find someone of a high quality. And the best way to do that is to make sure that they are a highly qualified instructor. If someone's a level 4 instructor, especially with Basie, with IAZ, with these other qualifications, the Swiss way, the Austrian way, they're going to be of the highest standard. They are going to be a very, very high quality teacher. Now, it may not mean they're the best teacher in the world, because that will vary person to person, but what it will mean is that they're been educated in the correct way, and they're going to pass that on to you in terms of the way you should ski for the best technique. Now, they all vary ever so slightly between these standards anyway, but ultimately they're kind of edging towards the same place. Now, if you're just looking, for example, for a guide, now, when, for example, we went skiing for the first time in Grindelwald, we had absolutely no clue how to read a map for the ski slopes, where to go, where would be good for beginners, all of these different things, and we would not have been able to do it without the help of an instructor. We went through one of the Swiss ski schools, and we found, who has now become a really good friend of ours, Mai, who took us round and showed us where to go and what restaurants to eat at, and was giving us little tips and tricks as to how we can kind of navigate our way down these slopes for the first time. But for the most part, really was more of a guide at that time. Now, when we went back this year and we skied with him, he was more of an instructor, but that's because we had got to that stage whereby we could get to that level. But actually, when you're looking for someone who's just a guide to take you around, show you the places, show you the ropes, make sure you're in places that suit your ability, most of the instructors that work at these places are going to be absolutely adequate. If, like me, you're obsessed with technique, then, like I said, you really need to make sure you're getting the right kind of instructor at the right times, at the right levels. But that's just a kind of quick chat, a little bit of advice on ski instructors, how to hire your ski instructors, how to choose them. And the best way to find a good ski instructor is to ask somebody. So, for example, if you asked me and you said, I'm going to ZLMC, then I'm going to tell you Andy, Snow Camps Europe, great instructor, high level instructor, lots and lots and lots of experience. If you're telling me I'm going to Zermatt, I can recommend loads of instructors in Zermatt. Steve Jones, level 4 Basie instructor, outrageously good, outrageously knowledgeable, and incredible teacher. Jason, different way of teaching, but is sensational at rapidly progressing you at becoming a better, more proficient skier, enabling you to enjoy your ski trips more. There's so many, even in Les Arcs, I know instructors, there's lots and lots of places I can highly recommend instructors. Courchevel, Lizzie in Courchevel. There's so many that I've learned of these really, really, really good high level quality ski instructors that you can go to. And if you ask someone who's been skiing, who knows a bit about skiing, or a ski instructor themselves, hopefully they can get you a good ski instructor. If you're looking for a guide, just go on one of the websites, find yourself an instructor, and away you go. It doesn't really matter. But if you do want good education and you want to go on to be a good technical skier, that's a very, very different thing entirely. So that's my podcast for today. I've tried to keep it as short as possible because I am working. I've got to go off and do some work. But I hope that was useful for some of you. If you've got any questions or anything, please do leave them in the comments or in the show notes. There are ways that you can contact me. The next episode that we do will be some form of destination spotlight on the places we just went to. So I'd love to do a big one on the Three Valleys. That will be coming up. I'd love to do one on Teens Val d'Isère. That definitely will be coming up. And then we can also talk about some more plans that we are putting together for the next ski season that are already coming around that I'm very excited about. And actually, for me, I didn't go on a summer holiday last year because I've just been so into skiing, but my family and my friends are completely sick and tired of my ski addiction. They are annoyed that I'm not willing to go on summer holiday, so I have just booked a summer holiday. When I get back from my ski trip to Hintertux and Zermatt, it's my birthday on the 26th of May, and on the 1st of June, I am taking everyone back to one of our favourite summer destinations, which is Javia in Spain. So we are heading over there for a week, and I'm going to take everybody on a nice summer holiday, which everybody deserves, having listened to me talk so much ski recently. They definitely do deserve it, especially my beautiful wife, who has really had to put up with me waffling on and on and on about skiing, and even had to go on summer holidays on her own or with her friend, not on her own, but with her friends last year, because I just really did not want to go. So this year I am going to go and make everybody happy, put other people before myself, and yeah, that should be fun. But I will catch you guys in the next episode. Have yourselves a great week.